Hi, it's me from the future, y'all. I'm just popping on just to say, I think I mentioned in the podcast that there was no new episode of Jersey. For some reason on my Bravo app and on my Fire Stick, it's not popping up. So apparently there was an episode 2 of Jersey that came out on Wednesday. I just cannot find it, so I will recap it on Tuesday's episode. So for right now, this episode is just going to be the recap of Salt Lake City Reunion Part 3. Thank you.
But now we said it.
Hi, hello, welcome to another episode of Now We Said It, y'all. It's me, Quisha. How are you? I'm good, y'all. I don't know why as soon as I started recording, kids outside screaming like they are losing their life. And I bet you ain't nothing going on. Okay, so I was actually geared up to talk about 3 episodes, y'all. I was ready to talk about Salt Lake City, Dallas, and Jersey, but they did me dirty. I went to the Bravo website and I saw that Jersey and Dallas don't have new episodes until next week. I'm only here to talk about Salt Lake City because that's the only new episode. I even went to go see if there was a new Summer House episode, but that comes out tonight, which is Thursday night. So Salt Lake City it is. So before I get into the part 3 reunion recap, and I'm just scrolling through my notes and they are lengthy, I want to talk about a little bit of tea, hopefully a new show on the horizons. I don't know if y'all follow Dumas on Instagram or not, but some tea has been spilled about a Housewives spinoff. It was a tweet from this guy named Anthony Dominic, and he said, "I'm told the Housewives spinoff will likely film for 1 week in April." He says, "I'm told it will just be for friends." I'm reading his exact tweet, y'all. I got this out of my Facebook group, SUP. Shout out to y'all if you are listening. Y'all, I told y'all I bit the bullet. I swallowed my pride. Not like I have very much, but I put myself out there and I shared my podcast in my Facebook group and they have been so supportive and so nice. So, hey, y'all, what's goody? Thank y'all so much for subscribing if you did. Please be sure to share this podcast out with everyone you know. I would say timestamps would be below, but I'm only talking about one show tonight. But please, if you know anybody that likes recaps and if you find me somewhat entertaining or anything, if you hate me, whatever, share it so somebody else can give it a listen. Maybe I'll be somebody else's cup of Whispering Angel Rosé, you know? Anyway, see, I get sidetracked. But hey, welcome if you're from the Sexy Unique podcast group. Shout out to y'all. I love that group so much. Facebook groups, I mean, y'all. Okay, let me take it back for a minute. I started off in the OG Bitch Sesh group. Oh my gosh, if anybody is from that group, oh my God, how far we've come, or did not. Oh no, you know what? Hold on, let me take it back even further. I was in the Emotionally Broken Psychos group. That's where I really got started. Molly McLear, I was in her group first, met so many cool people in that group. A whole bunch of people, or a good group of people from that group started their own podcast, like Ryan and Kara. Who else? There's like 2 other people. I can't remember right now, but and they got very successful. So that gave me the courage. Like all they did was share it out to our friends. We all have similar mindsets and we love the same shows. So why not give it to people that like the things that you talk about? And my numbers have been struggling lately, and I think it was because I was too afraid to share out my podcast, but I did it. So here we are. So yeah, I started off in the Emotionally Broken Psychos group. Then I moved over to the Bitch Sesh group, which both have imploded. Wait, there was another one too that got shut down. I can't remember. I was even part of the Pretty Mean Facebook group. Oh yeah, those guys who Sam went on to be the Bravo historian. She is killing it. I missed that podcast, the Pretty Mean podcast. They were so funny. Yeah, so, and here I am. And, Sexy Unique podcast group is still holding strong. Hopefully, y'all, I don't know, people started to talk trash. I just mostly kiki and laugh and, react. Now, I say all that to get back to this man's tweet. So here we are. He says, "I'm told it will just be 4 franchises. New Jersey, Beverly Hills, Atlanta, and New York. They're taking 2 women from each franchise." Interesting. So the 8 I've heard... This is him speaking. The 8 I've heard are Melissa, Teresa. What about Marge? Renna, Kyle, Kenya, Cynthia, Ramona, and Sonia. Okay, cool. I'm only cool with Melissa. Okay, I know why they're bringing Teresa. She's going to bring the drama, but I'd much rather see Melissa and Marge, or even Melissa and Jennifer. Teresa's just like, Rinna and Kyle, I don't like now, one of them. But who else would they bring from Beverly Hills? Like, who else is really bringing it? Rinna, I understand the value of having Rinna there. Kyle, I feel like they're just doing it because it's Kyle. Ugh, whatever. Kenny and Cynthia, yeah, I'm down for that. I'd also like to see Candy or Marlo. That would be really good. Ramona and Sonia, absolutely. They should throw Leah in there too. He says, I'm told more than half the list has signed on. Y'all, I'm so excited to see that. That's going to be good. So back to the other one. He says, I'm told the Housewives spinoff will likely film for 1 week in April. The location will be Mexico or somewhere tropical. Oh yeah, Potomac. What about the Potomac? What about the Potomac girls? He said Potomac not expected due to filming overlap. Okay. Damn, I almost forgot about Potomac too. And I do not care that Dallas people aren't there. Whatever. Although, what about Deandra? Potomac, they should pick Karen, of course. I say Karen and Ashley. Those are my votes. But like he said, they can't do it because of filming. But interesting. So, y'all, that's the tea I have. I don't really know if that's tea, but, you know. It's news. So let's go ahead and get right into the Salt Lake City Part 3 reunion. Now, I thought Part 3 was really good. I liked it a lot better than Part 2. There was less yelling. There was a good amount, but there was way less. You could actually hear people's thoughts and points, and they hit good points. And I feel like they got to a lot of stuff due to lack of yelling. So, Lisa rejoins the ladies after throwing her fit in the green room. Mary makes the funniest face when Lisa walks past her. She did like a ill face. Ill. So we are joined by the husbands. The only 2 husbands that are there in person are Lisa's husband, John. Oh, wait. There's 3 husbands there in person. You have Coach Shah, Lisa's husband, John, and Whitney's husband, Justin. The rest of the guys are joining via Skype, Zoom, whatever they're using. Y'all, Robert Sr. is already not in the mood, okay? He's coming in hot. Very, defensive. I understand why he would. I'm sure he was expecting the worst, but I feel like the Robert and Mary segment was actually very sweet. Y'all, I cried. Oh my God. I'm not even on my period or anything. I cried. Why are Lisa and her husband so tan? I'm assuming they got those matching tan jobs together because they both are wearing the same off shade of orange that does not look natural. It was given tangerine. They talk about Lisa throwing John's Rolex out the window. They asked basically why did she do that, and she said she picked him up from the airport. It was her birthday and he didn't get her anything or say anything, mention her birthday. And he was wearing the watch that she got him for his birthday earlier, about a month earlier or whatever. So she was like, so you're not going to say anything about my birthday or you don't have anything to give me? And he goes, here, take the watch. You're regifting? You're regifting this Rolex. Oh my gosh, y'all, I keep getting Twitter notifications. I'm following House of Effie on Twitter, y'all. She is spiraling out of control. Oh my gosh. I don't want to get sidetracked, but I can't help it. When is the Army Hammer article going to come out? That's my only question. Ciao, Effie. Sit down. It's you want to be on people's side and give them the benefit of the doubt, but she is she's attacking the other victims. Effie. All right, yeah, let me get back to this because I can't deal with that. So basically, yeah, he tried to re-gift the Rolex, and she said, you have 10 seconds to put that Rolex back on or I'm throwing it out the window. And he did not, and she did. They asked Coach Shah, does he value football and his job more than his wife and his family? Now, he said no, he doesn't value football more, but he also did not say why he didn't attend the funeral. He says, I was there in the middle of the week before he died, and her father would talk to only me. And Jen felt like if I would have stayed, he maybe would have lived longer, but we know, scientifically that that's not true. And then he said, I was at the wake. And then he also says, and every time after that, since he's died, I've been there for her every step of the way. But why didn't we see you go to the gravesite when her son was holding the umbrella for her? Where were you then? Where were you? So again, why didn't you make it to the funeral? Questions left unanswered. So then they asked Justin if he's still a member of the Mormon church, and he said no. About 10 years ago, he received a letter basically saying he was no longer welcome. And he was like, that's the worst thing a Mormon can get is that letter. Heather gets emotional and said she feels for them because she has the same story and she could very well get that letter any day now because of the show and all that kind of stuff. So then Lisa pipes up and says that John was married before her and a lot of her family members are divorced as well and they are still accepted in the church. Justin says, well, the reason he got the letter was because that they were both married, and cheating on their spouses, actively cheating, and they got caught, And then they asked Robert Sr. if there's anything he wants to say or clarify. He says, I don't get all that grandfather grandfather stuff. It's stupid. And Mary says he's still very upset about it. She said he was hesitant when she joined the show, or when she was asked to join the show. He and Mary kind of go back and forth because she was like, you weren't hesitant. He was like, yes, I was. Me? And she was like, no. He was like, yes, I was. Y'all, he is grumpy and he is old. And then Mary tells Robert that she and Jen have made up and they're moving in a positive direction. I guess she was saying that to calm him down because it worked. He was in a better mood after she said that. And Andy asks him, what is it that he wants people to know that they don't already or that they don't understand? And he says they didn't just get married for the money. He said he was 22 years old when he married Mary's grandmother. And I noticed he called her mama. Ugh, I don't like that. I don't like that. And he goes, I wasn't anyone's grandfather. I wasn't even a father. Yeah, but you still became her. You automatically became her step grandfather when you married her grandmother. Even if you were 22, you were still her granddaddy, her step granddaddy, because I'm sure she was born by then, right? Because I'm sure her grandfather, her actual grandfather, was married to Mama before Robert. Child, it's all very confusing to me. He says Mary is a great mother and a great wife. And he loves her even though they've had their ups and downs. He's like, we've been married 22 years. It's expected. He talks very highly of... I'm sorry if y'all can hear noise in the background. My neighbors are doing yard work. They do it every day. Like I said before, I want to see the yard. What the hell is going on over there? Constant. That shit better look like Edward Scissorhands or something. I know y'all heard that noise. I'm so sorry. I'm going to try to come back in a minute because... Oh my God. Okay, I think they're done. I hope they are. I'm sorry if the noise comes back. If the noise comes back, y'all, I have to go on. Okay? I'm sorry. Well, there it is. Anyway, so he talks very highly of Mary, saying that she's more than just the first lady of the church. She's his co-pastor and she's his equal. And Mary gets emotional. And y'all, that's when I got emotional. It was just so sweet. Andy asks her why is she getting emotional, and she just says, I've been through so much. And basically she said it made me feel really special and really good when he called me his equal. Y'all, they're sweet, okay? Listen, it's not for everyone. As a matter of fact, I feel like it's only for the two of them, but they're happy. They've been married for 22 years. They've gotten over the situation, the hard facts of what's going on. They seem in love. 22 years? 22 years is great. Good for them. And they are happy with their situation. Good on them. Mary says regarding Jen that she says that she's in a better place now where she needs to learn to accept people for who they are. And she never gave Jen that opportunity. Very nice. And Jen says thank you. Both Robert Sr. and Sharif say that it was hurtful to watch their wives go at each other like that. Sharif says that Jen is going to have to come from a very real place to gain understanding and respect from others. You better preach, Sharif. He said something like that in a roundabout way, but y'all know, I'm paraphrasing. And then Andy asked him if he could be his coach, and everybody's like, yeah, we all need that coach pep talk. I mean, yeah, we all love and respect Coach Shah for his pep talks, but how exhausted is he? Especially having to always pep talk Jen. I mean, I'm sure that's a part of their marriage and it's just something he knows that he has to do, but is she ever giving him pep talks? Is he ever down? Does he ever have a bad day? Leave it in the comments below. When he saw what his wife said, he told her it was unacceptable. He says she can't talk about people's marriages or what they do, and Jen knows he was upset. He says we can't indulge in that type of conversation and that type of talk, and he apologizes to Robert Sr. Aww. And he said hopefully she'll get the chance to demonstrate who she really is going forward. Yeah, I want to see that because I feel like she is who we've seen. We've seen her. What do y'all think? Are we going to get the exact same Jen in season 2, or do y'all think that there's really going to be a change? I'm mostly excited to see her and Mary's friendship. And I am, y'all, what's going on out there? They're about to make me look up my blinds like a real nosy neighbor. Because what's tea? Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, I hope we do see some growth from Jen. I feel like when she's fun, she can be really fun. But I can't be around all that extraness that she displayed in season 1. It was just too much. So then they talk about Whitney and her dad and his recovery and his addiction and all that. And Whitney says she doesn't know how her father is doing right now. He has not spoken to her. She says after the show, they had actually built a beautiful foundation and were communicating very well. She says she saw him for her birthday and she never saw him again. He disappeared and he won't respond to her text. She says that she texts him at least every 2 to 5 days and no response. Mary gives her words of encouragement saying never give up hope. Very sweet. Then they talk about her dad's hair. Andy goes, so was that a wig? And Whitney goes, no, that is his hair. So that's the hair he chooses to walk around with, y'all. That's his statement. It's his truth. They asked Meredith and Seth how was the reconciliation going. They're both giving very short answers. Meredith is not here to talk about it. She says it's been good. Andy goes, I'm getting a little bit of, he said, what did he say? He's getting a little bit of whatever. She wasn't being forthcoming, basically. And she said, why would I open up and discuss anything about my marriage with this group of women? She confirmed before filming that both she and Seth had filed for divorce at one point. I'm assuming at different times. She says, listen, we had a very rocky marriage and we were separated a lot. She said that being on the show helped save her marriage because they were forced to address things. Seth agrees. He goes, we were hanging on by a thread, but being on the show, having to talk about those things, he said something gave us more threads and it made them stronger. Seth seemed a lot more sober because he seemed drunk the entire show. He was giving booze hound and he seemed to put himself together. He's still in Canton, Ohio doing whatever it is he does, but I digress. And then Andy brought up the fact that Meredith confessed to dating different people while they were separated, and he asked Seth if he dated anyone, and Seth says not really. What does not really mean? That sounds like a fuckboy answer. Yes or no, dog? He says there were a lot of deficiencies in their marriage and most of them were his doing. Well, at least he's taking ownership. And he says he was never able to get over Meredith. That don't mean you still can't get a little some on the side. Y'all, Meredith's boobs look fantastic. I'm assuming those are implants because when she moved, they did a little implant movement, but they are gorgeous. They sitting up and they are alert. I want whatever she has to her boobs. I need a little help over here. Lisa gets emotional talking about Meredith. She basically said that she's happy that they're still together. She loves them together, and it was hard for her to watch them go through all that kind of stuff. Meanwhile, Heather is in the cut, ready to pounce, and she did. She says, I don't know why you're getting emotional because you claim marriage is not a big deal, but here you are getting emotional over their marriage. Heather, this was not for you. This conversation, this dialogue did not need your interjection. Heather was making too many points or too many segments of this reunion about her. And honey, I love you, Heather. You're actually my favorite one, but she should have just, I feel like if Heather came to the reunion like Meredith with that same energy of very calm and cool and collected, Heather would have been the queen of the reunion. But you know who's actually the queen of the reunion? Mary. Heather says, why can't you tap into that same emotion when I'm over here hurting and give me that energy? Because y'all aren't friends? Lisa's trying to talk, but Heather keeps talking over her, so I didn't really peep or get what Lisa was saying, but I think it was making sense. Then they get to the question I've been waiting for. I mentioned this last episode. Andy asked Jen, do you find it hypocritical that you were chastising Meredith about loyalty when you were going around talking about her marriage to everyone? Period. That's the question I wanted answered. And she didn't even, y'all, here's her response. She said she didn't do it from a place where she was trying to hurt her. What place, where did you think that was going to help her? She said, out of respect, I'm not going to go there. They're together, so let's not discuss it. It's a moot point. Andy goes, it's not a moot point. It was actually a huge part of the show, and you brought it up. Jen says she feels like she took the brunt of the blame, and she felt like a lot of the ladies had a part in it. Okay. No one would have known this if Jen wouldn't have ran her mouth. Everyone was shocked and confused. I think Whitney alluded to that she might have known something, but didn't she only know because Jen told her? She was trying to duck and dodge that question, and it was not cute. Andy keeps pushing, and she kept saying, I don't feel like it should be discussed now that they're back together. And then Jen starts crying, and she apologizes, saying she should have never engaged in that type of conversation. Then she apologizes to all the women, and she apologized separately to Robert Sr., and he said thank you. Andy asked Jen why was she still mad at Whitney on the way to the Vegas trip when she had already accepted her apology in those damn tubs in the desert. Jen says, I did accept her apology, but after I did that, Whitney said, well, the people that you think are your friends are talking about you. So she said she headed into Vegas having that information that Lisa and Meredith are talking about her, so she was mad at Whitney for that. Jen is so petty. She is so like, I don't know. I could never be friends with that type of person. She is so exhausting. Andy asks all the women who thinks Jen preaches loyalty but doesn't give it back. We see Meredith raise her hand. Whitney raises her hand. Heather raises her hand. And Mary raises her hand. And then Jen looked at Lisa and goes, thank you. Lisa is on that petty. Lisa is a suck up, man. I understand Lisa is trying to look out for Jen. She doesn't want Jen to be alone at the reunion, and she's kind of trying to be like a support system. But Lisa, you know that's true. Take your ass back under the sea with that Little Mermaid dress on, because that's where you belong, because you up here just like you doing the most. You don't deserve your earth legs yet. Go back under the sea. Did that make sense? I told y'all I saw that meme where they said Lisa looked like Ariel when she got her land legs. She did. I'm trying, y'all. I'm very distracted by all the noise going on around me. I'm trying to keep it together. Meredith asked Jen, if I treated you the way you treated me, would you consider me a loyal friend? And Jen says no. And then Jen goes, Meredith is seeking me out. She's not talking about the other women, what they did to her. Meredith's like, I was just asking you a question. I think Meredith was just trying to get Jen to see where she's coming from and how Jen is treating the other people. Like, hey, what if you were treated like this? You would be acting the same way we are. Meredith says she doesn't understand Jen and Lisa's relationship, basically because how could you be friends with this person that said all these things about me? That's where Meredith is coming from when it comes down to Lisa. But Lisa is a two-faced. Listen, she's trying to be friends with everybody. I'm not saying you need to pick sides when it comes to your friends, but there comes a point when you just can't let somebody sit up there and say the kind of things about your friend that Jen said about Meredith. Like, hold on, babe, you need to pump them brakes. I'm your friend, but I ain't your friend. Heather and Jen get into it a little bit because Heather says she didn't want to be sitting around eating shit, trying to be Jen's friend, basically taking all this abuse and still supporting Jen. She didn't want to be that type of friend anymore. She said she stood by Jen while Jen had a ton of horrible things to say to her, y'all. Then she lists off the things that Jen apparently said. She said she buys off the rack at Dress Barn. She thinks she's an actress. The only role she'll get is that of a manatee or Shrek. Way harsh, Ty. Jen says she doesn't remember. She said, Jen goes, I don't remember those things, but I'm sure I said them for a reason. And then Andy asked Mary what was her opinion about Jen not trusting Heather. Y'all, Mary was asleep. When she finally got herself together, she said she felt like Jen was just doing it to, like, as a dig. When they were at the hypnotist place and they all had to raise their hand for who didn't trust Heather, Jen was the only person that raised her hand, and Mary said she thinks Jen was just doing that, like, as a dig, which I agree. And then Jen gave us her perspective, which I did feel for her now that she explained it. Because she pretty much said once she got to that hypnotist place, Heather made it seem like it was all going to be okay and they're just going to go do this thing. And she gets there and she got pretty much like attacked by all these women, including that hypnotist lady. Basically, everybody's telling her she's a piece of shit, to be quiet, to just listen to all this harassment and, you know, like negative talk about herself. So she said she was feeling very hurt and defensive. I can see how she could feel like that because I know I wouldn't sit there and take that. People talking about me, I would have got up and left. I ain't the one. But also if I did wrong, it would have to be something that I need to like accept and take in. But maybe it came from like, maybe it was too much for too long. I don't know. But I see her side now that she said that. And then she said, you know, as a woman of color being told these things, you know, sitting around with all these white women and they're telling you all these things about yourself, it can make you feel some sort of way. So I understood Jen for that. Sometimes I feel like she just needs to slow down and say her feelings slowly and clearly, because I feel like sometimes she gets like ahead of herself and she starts like like she gets too excited, which that happens to me too, which is why when I'm angry I need time to like, I gotta go write stuff down because I need to get myself together. So as Jen is explaining herself, she's getting emotional again and she's getting animated, and she goes, being told you're aggressive as a woman of color is very hurtful. And Heather goes, but right now you are being aggressive. Your behavior right now is aggressive. Then they kind of did like this yelling back and forth, and Jen gets up and storms out. Meredith was trying to explain like, you know, at this current time, you have to be very careful about accusing people of being racist when they're not. I don't think the women are racist. I think they're just ignorant and they're not being considerate of Jen's feelings before they're saying some of the things that they're saying about her. So Jen gets up and she goes back into her little dressing room. She is hysterically crying into Sharif's arms and she's trying to explain to him what's going on. Y'all, he looks so damn confused. She comes back and she says she's not saying that they're wrong. She's just saying why it hurts her as a person of color. Andy asks them if there's one thing they learned from watching themselves on the show. Lisa says she wants to work on listening more. That's a good one. Mary says she wants to work on the way that she says things. They can come off the wrong way and offensive, and she needs to tune in more on how to express herself. All right, Mary. Jen says she needs to work on her communication and to make sure that her group of friends know that they can come to her and trust her and not feel threatened or afraid. Very nice. Whitney says she wants to work on her timing and delivery, and she needs to learn how to own her own voice and speak more clear and confidently. Yes. Meredith. Y'all, here go Meredith. Meredith says she doesn't feel like she was treated the same with the same treatment and kindness that she gave the other women. And she goes, I'm just going to move forward and forgive them, and their trust needs to be earned. So she didn't say what she needs to work on. She says what they need to work on. Heather says she wants to speak up and embrace everyone for who they are and not hold back. They wrap up the reunion with meatballs on a stick. Jen did a meatball toast to a great reunion, understanding each other, and they'll be better from this. They get some fake snow. I don't know if it's fake though, because Meredith says she's getting wet and Jen said her hair is going to frizz. So I know it had to have some sort of moisture to it, child. Mary was trying to eat the snow. So that wraps up the Salt Lake City reunion. My overall thoughts on the reunion, that could have been 2 parts for sure. It would have been really good. Like, it would have been a jam-packed 2-part reunion. Part 2, as usual, was a bit of a dud. Too much yelling. But overall, they got some resolution. I'm so happy for Jen and Mary that they found peace, because I was afraid that, or I heard some rumblings, some rumors, some tidbits that Mary said that she wasn't going to come back if Jen was back for season 2. So to see them make up at the reunion and to see them in a good place made me very hopeful. Now I feel like the drama with season 2 is going to be with Lisa and Heather. That's where I'm getting, my spidey senses are tingling. That's what I feel like season 2 is going to be about. But overall, y'all, Salt Lake City brought it. It was different. It was refreshing. These women have secrets, and I can't wait to get them all. You know why her hair is so big? Because it's full of secrets. I'm here for all the tea for Salt Lake City. Please let me know what you thought of this episode. Please leave me some comments and positive reviews wherever you're watching this, on YouTube or listening. Y'all, also, I'm going to get back to the visual aspect of the podcast. If you're new here, a couple of my first episodes are visual, so if you want to see me and what I do, I also have a makeup channel on YouTube, so I like to show off my different looks and stuff like that. I'm gonna get back to doing that now that I got more of a schedule down. So the YouTube episodes will not just be like, you know, the thumbnail, it'll actually be me talking. So I'm excited to get back to that. Yes. And yeah, so like I was saying, yeah, give me positive reviews, comments, thumbs up, 5 stars, whatever the thing is, hearts. I don't know, y'all, wherever you are listening to this, I really appreciate it. It really helps me out. Please share this podcast with anyone you know that will like it, okay? Or anybody that wants to hate listen to me. I'll appreciate that too. I love it all. With all that being said, I will see y'all on Tuesday's episode. This has been another episode of Now We've Said It. Bye.
But now we said it.